I love that. Inspiration versus perspiration. There's a lot of perspiration. And that's really just the sitting down to it and devoting the time. That's the hard part. But once you do that and get into it, the inspiration will come. But I think the perspiration comes first. Although there are those moments, where you have an idea, you sit down and you go. Unfortunately, those are fewer and farther between than just the daily kind of grind. Inspiration is a gift. Perspiration is a given.
It's important to take a little time off. So I work really hard. I usually get an idea or an assignment and I just really push hard and get the idea out and then tweak it and work at it. And then I need to take a little break. I need to get a little objectivity. So even if it's a couple of days, I need to take a step back. And one thing that can be hard for writers, I think, to do is to examine your story in ways that don't involve writing. And so Carolyn Coleman, I think her name is a really neat writing teacher who taught me to storyboard my stories. So instead of using writing to think about how the story is going, just for every scene, draw a little stick figure picture of what's happening with the plot or the emotional plot. And it really helped me to take a step back. It felt like I was cheating and not working because I wasn't directly writing. But tools like that, I think, can help you use a different part of your brain. Because I think we can write our way out of problems and we can write our way more deeply into problems because we're writers. And so it can be hard not to double down on the thing that's not working and just try to make it prettier or more intense or whatever it is. So taking a step back and using a different part of your creative brain to examine your work can be really helpful.
I'm very detail heavy, and when I edit, I'm going back and taking out quite a few adjectives, I'll tell you. Just sweep those adjectives out of there. And a challenge to me was to write just dialogue. And I would recommend that for anybody writing anything, whether it's a novel or a screenplay, or if you think you're going to write a feature-length film. You have to get this out of your head that you have to set the entire picture, and you have to leave things up to the imagination of the reader. And that's kind of the beauty of writing.
I wrote a story a long time ago about I grew up around horses, and I wrote a story about them, and it was I did the research, but it was such a telling of my own experience that the story was way different till, I'm writing a story about mushrooms, and I'm interviewing people in Norway. I'm interviewing people in Pennsylvania and everywhere, and their stories are so different than mine, and it's harder. And I'm worried that I want to make sure that I tell a good story from afar, and instead of being so close to something. And I think stories that I'm not used to the setting, or I'm learning about the subject, I have to do so much more research. I have to talk to so many more people. It takes me so much longer to write, and the story's different. And I have to be careful because I think the nuance of those stories that I don't know anything about can get listy. I start listing out stuff instead of I'm telling and I'm not showing, that's the show don't tell. And when I know something and when I have a background in it, or I know a lot about it, or I grew up with it, it's really easy to show. And then when I'm trying to learn something that I don't understand, it just takes me longer, and I have to learn how to show that.